George Kennan, who was the former ambassador to the Soviet Union, like during the height of the Cold War. And some of the things that he has said, I warned you, I'm a wonk. I'm very dorky this way. I go back and I read all the primary sources from the time, and I've gone back and read a lot of his papers, including one in the New York Times from 1997. And he said something of the highest importance is at stake here. He was very worried in the fall of the Soviet Union that we were expanding NATO way too fast and in ways that would make Russia super reluctant and super scared, which indeed is exactly where we are today. And perhaps it is not too late to advance a view that I believe is not only mine alone, but is shared by a number of others with extensive and in most instances more recent experiences in Russian matters. The view, bluntly stated, is that expanding NATO would be the most fateful era of American policy in the entire post-Cold War era. This is the guy who was the ambassador to the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War. There he is, warning everybody in 1997 that you're going to have these problems. Such a decision may be expected to inflame the nationalistic, anti-Western, and militaristic tendencies in Russian opinion, to have an adverse effect on the development of Russian democracy, to restore the atmosphere of the Cold War to East-West relations, and to impel Russian foreign policy in directions decidedly not to our liking. Okay, there you go. This is exactly what has happened. You go from 17 NATO countries to 30. Why? Oh, could it have anything to do with, as soon as the Cold War was over, these defense companies are sitting around like twiddling their thumbs? Well, gosh, what do we do now, right? Like, who are we going to fight? Who are we going to make all this equipment for to go on and fight? Just saying. It's an interesting thought, because the guy who was trying to negotiate for actual peace, and I think earnestly meant it, was warning them not to do exactly what they did. And it goes back to Cheney, it goes back to Clinton, and it goes back to everything we're seeing right now. I mean, no wonder Liz Cheney hates Trump so much. Her father's entire legacy is kind of on the line. You look at the stock charts of these defense companies, and it's amazing how much they have soared since Ukraine became an issue. If you go back to 2014, Maiden Revolution was in 2014, February. I remember I was a correspondent at CBS News. I covered it. So these Lockheed Martins of the world, they were doing nothing. Like they were just being left for dead, these stocks. Nobody was investing in them because you didn't have enough conflict going on, right? Like we just didn't. And then all of a sudden, Maiden Revolution happens, and they've been on a tear ever since. These stock prices have actually outperformed the S&P 500, which has a whole lot of tech companies in it. So that's saying something. I'm not trying to make accusations. I'm just trying to help you understand the other side of this. And that, maybe there's some there. When Vladimir Putin says, gee, we thought that you guys weren't going to just encroach on our border like this, and we say, oh, that was never the deal. Let's go back and look at what actually happened at the time, instead of just taking whatever the search results are on the internet, okay? And then you can actually try and drill down and figure out what's really going on. And why is it this way? I mean, why is it? It's a good question. Why is it this way?